So this is another pomegranate art puzzle. I love the pomegranate art puzzles, not because they are easy to do. In fact, I would argue they are some of the worst puzzles to do, but the images are always really, really pretty. This one is called Sunset Over Dog's Dream, and it's a picture of a bunch of dogs in Central Park, just chilling. Um, Very pretty. So strategically, this puzzle is a lot longer. It's not quite a panorama, I would say, but it's pretty close. So it's actually very long. Um, there's kind of some flowers and some grass, then some dogs, then the skyline, and these big flowers all around the puzzle. So in terms of strategy, I decided to actually build a lot of those big flowers pretty early on. And my thinking there was the big flowers were easy to spot, right? The colors popped. And it made it easy to sort of say, okay, now I've gotten this section done. I don't quite know where it's going to fit into the puzzle. But it's going to make it easier for me to figure out later exactly what goes around it. And sort of once I had those sort of big colorful flowers done, it was going to make it a lot easier to shape sort and put the sky in around it. And one of the things that I was worried about with this puzzle was, is the sky just going to be a nightmare? The spoiler alert there is it was actually not. As you can see, dog's dream is not cat's dream. Cat was a little bit displeased that I was paying so much attention to the puzzle and not as much to her. Also, that fluffy belly is not for petting. That fluffy belly is her way of saying, hey, look, my belly is very fluffy. It is not a touch my belly because then I will like to eat you. So you can see now that those flowers that I built at the very beginning of the puzzle, they're starting to come in useful because I'm actually connecting them up towards the sky. And so as I started to do the puzzle, I realized the sky was actually much skinnier than I expected from the box. I'm not good at looking at the box and understanding what the proportions of a finished puzzle will look like. That's something I need to work on. But it meant that it was very easy once I clipped in those flowers to finish up the sky around it. And so then I said, okay, let's try to do the same strategy for the bottom of the puzzle. So you can see I'm again pulling orange pieces and building an orange flower or a yellow flower. And I'm kind of just leaving them within the frame to say, okay, I know it's going to go here somewhere. And then as I start to see connections, I actually clip the pieces into the frame, which makes it much easier to say, okay, well, there are going to be some pieces left that I'm going to have to shape sort to fill in around these. But it leaves me with a much smaller, much more discrete area to shape sort, which is a great thing. And makes it much, much easier as you get towards the end of the puzzle. So I'm continuing on that strategy, just building those flowers and then starting to fill in around them. Part of the challenge is there are lots of repeating flowers, and so I actually had to rely pretty heavily on the box here to try to figure out, okay, what's going to go where. So I try not to rely on the box too much because I think that it can get very tempting to sort of stare at the box, trying to figure out where a piece goes and put it. And I also try to practice without the box as a way of kind of forcing myself to look more closely at the pieces actually that I'm flipping and not get caught up in what I think the image should be. But again, in this puzzle, you can really start to see now that I've gotten those flowers, it's actually giving the puzzle a lot of structure and it's making it move much, much faster than I expected. So pushing the puzzle up now to create a little bit of space on my table. This is probably a good time to start to shape sort. But what I'm trying to do is finish up. There's sort of two distinct greens. There's the greens of the park in the middle with all the dogs, and then there's the greens of the flowers around it. The green in the middle is fairly distinct. It's much brighter than the other green, and so I was actually able to just pull and find that. And you can see now I'm starting to shape sort. What I'm doing is I'm grabbing a piece, placing it, and then putting it back on the top in that shape sorted pile. And basically that's because a lot of the pieces were actually distinct enough that once I grabbed a piece, I could figure out where it went. But I didn't have luck sort of looking overall and saying, oh, here are all the pieces with a little bit of brown. It was easier to grab a single piece and place it. You can see that's kind of how I'm racing now. So yes, now taking advantage of the shape sorted bits to try to really speed up as I try to finish this puzzle. And look, there we are. Beautiful, beautiful puzzle. Really fun. Highly recommend this one.